Yeah, this is not familiar territory for me, and certainly not for anybody who's been following my channel for or my channels for any length of time. But I'm kind of responding in a way to a guy who calls himself casino matchmaker, Greg. He's a fellow Brit, and the beef I have with him is quite simply that he keeps pushing out these crazy betting strategies, which he says have got sort of like a 98% chance of winning and 99% blah blah blah. And because not a single one of them relates the value of the bet going out on the table to the loss to date, prior losses, whole, whatever you want to call it, I have a real problem with what he's doing, and I suspect, but could not prove, that he's still in the casino business. He was in it for many years, and I think basically what he's now done is he's come to the front of the house, and he is a sort of like a performing seal or whatever, a performing shill. That's a better word, beginning with S and ending with L. Trying to persuade people that this or that is a great strategy, and if you don't make sure that there is a real relationship between the value of your bet and the depth of the hole you're in, the size of the pile of shit that you've built up, then you can't get anywhere. Um, I don't like this sim at all because it's very, very slow, but at least it will enable me to sort of demonstrate what I'm talking about. To me, one of the better bets on a roulette table, and I rarely, rarely, rarely go near a roulette table, and I certainly wouldn't go anywhere near one with two zeros. But first dozen and second dozen, bet them the same amount together and bet progressively. Let's just see what happens. I got into trouble the first time I tried this, but I did manage to build the bankroll up to 3,000, and we'll just see what occurs. Session expired? What? Disappointing, isn't it? So now I've only got 1,000, and off we go again. 1 2 1 2, and away we go. They say good luck, but they don't really mean it. All right. So now I'm going to bet 3 on each. There isn't a repeat. Well, there is. Okay. Yeah, there is. So I can repeat and then add. So that's all right. Okay. It's very, very slow, though. That's the infuriating thing about this. Just keep adding 1. And the next bet will be 10 if we lose this. 10 on each. I'm not recommending roulette at all. Not at all. So we've got 10 out. So next time we'll need to bet on each. We'll need to bet more than that. You can be sure there's a shit number coming any minute. But not yet. So then we do that again. And we go to 12. So next time we'll bet 15 on each. If we lose, we're going to bet 15 on each. And we lost. Okay, so 1 2 3. 1 2 3. So next time, if we lose, it'll be 50 on each. They don't give you much leeway on this, and it's oh dear, look at that. See what they're doing to me? So now we're on 50 on each. And now we go back down to the minimum and we clear everything. Yeah, this is just an exercise in proving progressive betting. I shouldn't have to do that now, but Greg's thing is just infuriating because there's just no way any of his strategies work. Because they're not strategies. They're just hooks to bring you in. Okay, so what did we just lose? I got confused there. So I think probably we got to bet 10 on each now. Which means that if we lose, the next bet will be 30 on each. All right, well, we're good there. So then we clear back down to minimums. So slow, isn't it? It's almost as slow as the Wiz's blackjack. And this is actually on his site. So I guess he doesn't design his own things. He just gets people in, or he just licenses them, or whatever. So we're at our minimum. All right, so we'll increase that by 1 on each. So now we're on 6. That was good. Increase. And you don't have to increase after a win, but I just recommend it because it just makes your turnaround worth that much more, Okay. So the bet was, it was 8, it's saying. So that was 4 on each. So the next bet then is 10 on each, isn't it? Forgive me for fumbling a bit here, but I'm not that excited about roulette. I'm not much excited about what Greg is doing on his channel, but it's none of my business. All right, so we got out of trouble there. So we clear again. And we're going to go back down to all right, so we got 4 out, so the next bet will be 5 on each if we lose it. If we don't, we just add 1. But you must have a link between your bet and your loss to date. So now we're going to bet 4 each, so that's 8 out. So the next bet will be 10 if we lose. 10 on each. See, I mean, the theory is that obviously the first and second 12, so that's 2/3 of the numbers on the table, right? But then you've got that pesky 0 that gets in the way that can really screw you up. Obviously, the third 12 can screw you up, and the 0 can screw you up. I don't know. I'm on 9. I'm going to just do this for 10 minutes. So we're 44 ahead at the moment, and we're going to do that. And so now we've got 10 out. So if we lose, the next bet will be 15 on each. Yeah, 15 on each. All right, so we just did 10 minutes and we made We made 50 in 10 minutes. And I'm not saying that this is what you should do, but what I am saying is don't have anything to do with any strategy anywhere on YouTube or anywhere else that you find it, which does not make you link your loss to date to the value of your next bet. And obviously with progressive betting, we've got this thing, or with pattern betting, which is a controlled version of progressive betting. We've got 3-play, which basically says, we will suffer 3 losses in a row, and then we will go into defense mode, which is either dropping the bet or leaving the table. Either way is fine, because patterns will continue wherever you go. You don't have to keep on getting beaten by the same shoe or the same sequence or the same wheel or the same whatever, the same crappy cold dice chucker. What do they call them? Dice roller. I don't know. Whatever. But we made a small profit here. And you can do this, but that's because every time we got into trouble, did we get into trouble? I think we had a couple of losses, that's all. But, you've got to make sure you recover prior losses. It is essential. You will not succeed if you don't do that. So, and I'm going to put up on this, just for the hell of it, a little examination of 25,000 spins of roulette from a very reliable, absolutely accurate random number generator. And somebody's going to say to me, oh yeah, well that's a Windows random number, so it's not reliable, it's not whatever. And well, it came out with a house edge of 2.6%, and that's good enough for me, because that's what counts. Next time, on a different game. All right, so let me kick this off by explaining that this is all entirely theoretical. I am not recommending playing any kind of roulette, 0-0 roulette, 0-0 roulette. Now they have 0-0 roulette in some casinos in Nevada, I see. And, the casinos just get greedier and greedier and greedier, and it's hardly believable. But that's how it is. So nothing much can be said about that. But let's just, I'm doing a little tidying here because I want the casino match fakers Oscar's grind to show up over here as effectively as possible. So I'm just shortening these or narrowing a couple of columns here. All right, so now what this is about is it is a random number generator, as you would expect. It's got 25,000 spins. There are, in this particular example here, 642 zeros, which is a 2.6% house edge, which is bang on as far as expectation for the game is concerned. And the purpose of this exercise is simply to say to you, or to show you, to demonstrate that progressive betting is the only way to beat the 2.6% house edge. And in this run through here, a variation of pattern betting won 5.23% of its total action, 134,232, and Oscar's grind, which is a really old and long ago debunked and destroyed and dismissed version of pattern betting, which I think the casinos like to promote every so often to sort of like draw people away from the kind of thing that I'm doing here, what I'm demonstrating here. But this is what happens against exactly the same outcomes. Oscar's grind loses 480,000 or 6%, far worse than the 2.6% house edge up here. But casino match faker thinks it's great. And let me explain why I sort of like I trash his channel every so often. It might seem a very unfriendly thing to do to a fellow content creator, but the difficulty that I have watching gambling on YouTube channels is quite simply that, having spent many, many years in Nevada, an awful lot of time in casinos gambling, because I do love to play those games, but having watched the desperate straits that people get into because of the way that things are set up in Nevada in particular, for instance, with ATM machines scattered through a casino, with people encouraged to cash their paychecks, for Christ's sake. I mean, cash your paycheck and we'll give you a bonus of blah, 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 whatever. I mean, that kind of thing, it's just plain immoral. But the politicians in Nevada bend over for it. The so-called gaming control board bends over for all that kind of crap, and now they're perfectly happy to accept 000 roulette and games, blackjack games where a dealer 22 is a push, all that kind of nonsense. So what you're seeing is a gradual slide from serious problem into something far worse. And I'm not making a moral judgment here. What I'm saying is that if it's your money when you go into a casino and bet, and if you're stupid enough to risk your money, for fun and excitement and adrenaline, and for, as one guy on a recent channel that I watched said, a hard on, from putting a huge amount of money at risk, then fine. But most people who go into casinos and put money on the tables are not betting with money that is only theirs. It belongs to their family, it belongs to their dependents, it belongs to their creditors, and so on. And what's needed, I think, to sort of bring gambling into some sort of semblance of fairness, equality, equalization, which is a word that President Trump just claimed he invented. I think it's been in the dictionary for quite a long time, but according to him, he invented it. That's just yesterday, I think he said that. Interesting fellow, he really is. If there's a way to regulate the way that people play so that it is absolutely clear that the money they're putting on the tables is only theirs, isn't promised to anybody else, will not hurt anybody else if it's lost, blah, 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 blah. And, my campaign is against what I call second-hand gambling. People who have skin in the game without even knowing it. And then when they lose, it comes as a complete surprise to them because they didn't even know they'd placed a bet. That's the sort of thing I'm talking about. And this explains suicides that are associated with gambling, crime which is associated with gambling, where somebody gets into a deep hole and the only way they can get out of it is not by gambling more, but by stealing from their boss, stealing from their employers, whatever. Even going into liquor stores with a gun and holding people up. And maybe even killing them because they've got huge gambling debts. I mean, gambling is fine in its place, but it long ago flooded its banks and sort of just permeated all of society. And that's my thing. That's what I'm about. But anyway, in this example of 25,000 rounds, this is what you get from progressive betting. You'll see skips here. The horizontal green lines, as always, mean turnaround. And if you bet on first and second dozen, this is what you can achieve. It's not what you will achieve, but it's what you can achieve. And here we have the maximum bet is set at 5,000. All right. Now you can't get from $1. Well, it's pounds here because I live in pound land, so please forgive me. But anyway, it's all in pounds here. I could have made it euros. I could have made it dollars. Just think of it as just units. Forget about the denom, as they say on these. Oh no, when they say denom, they don't mean the sign, the dollar sign, the euro sign, the pound sign, or whatever. They mean the value, the actual. It's so funny. Some of the lingo just goes right past me because I haven't played in Nevada for, let's see now, December 2013 was the last time. So it's been a while. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, it's set. So here, we get into sudden deep shit where there's a load of nasties We skipped this win here because we hit the minus, that's 3 play. So we hit that. And then we skipped a couple of losses here. And then we skipped a win. And the win trigger then prompted a maximum bet, and we won that. And then a maximum, we won that. And notice, of course, that when you lose 2. And when you win 1. So, that's the nature of the bet. But let's keep on going down here and just look at what can be achieved. Also, do keep an eye on Casino Matchfaker's Oscar's Grind over to the right, because it prevails most of the time. There's no doubt about that. Eventually, we're going to come to the bit where Oscar's Grind collapses, goes belly up, crashes and burns, whatever other expressions you like to use for these nasty things. And see, look at that. See, it's 1 unit is 1 unit of 1 each time, which is not good. Sorry, it's just not good. But that's how it is. And my problem with Greg, who's a fellow Brit and calls himself Casino Matchmaker, of course, is that he, at the bidding of his casino bosses or sponsors, if you prefer to use that word, promotes all these crazy strategies. But because there's no relationship between the bet that's pushed out on the table and the target, which is the loss to date, there is no way that any of these things that he's peddling will ever get anywhere, because you cannot do it. If you're betting flat or randomly, you will get murdered by the house advantage. It is absolutely unavoidable. But he keeps pushing out these damn things, and he sticks up bloody headlines that say things like, I'll stake my life on this, I'll stake my professional reputation on this, I'll do this. They're all crap, because they don't relate the loss to date to the bet value. And if you don't do that, you are, to use the technical term, screwed. So here we go, and I'm waiting for dear old Oscar's Grind to fall to pieces, but it ain't happened yet. We're only 4,000 in. I mean, press the speed up button by all means. You might get somewhere. I could go and find it. Maybe that's what I should do. If we go down to the bottom and work up. See, there was obviously a bankrupt in there somewhere. So you just keep looking at pattern betting. T to W. I'm going to pause this and go and find where Oscar's Grind falls apart. So let me put up the little old clock, which I like to use because it's a new thing for me. So we'll put that over here. All right, and I am going to pause. All right, it took me a lot longer to find Oscar's Grind's first big collapse because 25,000 is a hell of a lot, I'll tell you that much. It does take a while to sort of search through all these things. So here you have a situation where Oscar's Grind, because it has no self-defense mechanism, nothing like that. Once it gets to 5,000, then it's basically going to experience some difficulties because, like over here, you see, and remember, both of the strategies, both of the methodologies, systems, whatever you want to call them, are operating against exactly the same results. So you can see that here. I mean, the actual result is shown in this column Q, -2, -2, -2, blah 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 blah. and it's over here, and it's over here. Difference is we skip, and we're at 81,000 something or other, and at the point where the nasties hit, we're at, or pattern betting, algae is at 81,000, 82,000, and Oscar's at 7,775. And then we go down a bit, and we get a recovery here. Oscar does not. On we go, on we go, on we go, on we go. And here you can see the difference between the two approaches. Oscar is at maximum, and algae is still, sort of gradually coining it, and we're getting turnarounds worth 432.15, 2,408, whatever, and all I'm telling you, all I'm suggesting to you is just think about how ridiculous it is to go up against a 2.6% house advantage with a method that doesn't allow you to offset the fact that you're going to lose more bets than you win by winning more when you win than you lose when you lose. And I get skeptical responses to that all the time, and I really couldn't care less. I mean, it's just been happening for so many years now. It's just bizarre. What do we have here? Not exactly. I don't remember why this would have bailed out at a loss of 27,160, but it did, so that's all right. That's whatever that algorithm is. I mean, we've got all kinds of things that are different here than they would be for sort of games with a less unfriendly house advantage, because we are talking about something pretty shitty, and we're only at less than 8,000 spins at this point. But you can see that poor old Oscar's grind is I don't know why Oscar would even be bothering, frankly, but it's just so odd that Greg would say that Oscar's grind is a tried and true and trusted blah-de-blah-de-blah, and here it is in deep shit. And I'm not doing anything to fiddle it. I mean, my algorithm is right now is not at its best. Its highest is 185, near enough 186,000 ahead, and it ends up, in fact, at 134,000 ahead, because if we go all the way down to the bottom, we'll see, I guess. No, we had a few more bankrupts, I think, because we actually do, algae does say, all right, that's enough. I'm not gonna fight this any longer, and that's the way that works. But all I'm offering you is food for thought. Think about it. Think about the numbers. Think about the logic of the numbers of games of chance. You are certain over time to lose more bets than you win. Therefore, you must bet progressively. You must bet systematically, strategically, tactically, in order to ensure that the sum value of all of your wins, which are fewer in number than all of your losses, the sum value of your wins exceeds the sum value of all of your losses. In other words, your average win is greater in value than your average loss. You must do that. There is no sort of other way of putting it. This is not sort of like, well, wouldn't it be nice if? It's essential. It is essential. And that's what my little campaign is all about. And yeah, there's no way that Oscar's going to get out of the doo-doo. And meanwhile, the pattern betting algorithm is producing, not at its best, but it's doing pretty well. And if I go back to the top and I hit the recalc, most probably both are going to see a negative outcome. Hello? Okay, so algae is at minus 280,000, Oscar is at minus 570,000, and the thing to always think about is Look at all these green horizontal bars here. You know, and they do apply to both sides, because Oscar's grind will produce for quite a long time until it goes tits up. So really the lesson here is progressive betting is the only way you can beat these games, and roulette is not a game to try to beat, because they really do sort of like they put fences around everything, so you can't bet more than X amount on the first and second dozens, and you can move from casino to casino, and the same principle applies to pattern betting. However, whichever game you play at, as soon as you hit a table limit, do not bend over. Don't sort of accept the table limit. Get up and go somewhere else where there's a better limit. And if that means leaving the state and going somewhere else, or leaving the country and going somewhere else, do it, as they used to say in the Godfather ads. Do it. But just don't let the casino bully you. That's the main thing. So there you have it. A little bit of a demo, and take it or leave it.